So, I was watching Rory Jennings' video last night where he discussed is Todd Bowley ruining Chelsea Football Club. Now, I did not agree with every single point that was made, but there was a particular sentiment that kind of resonated with me a little bit and kind of supported some thoughts and opinions that I've had for myself. And that was, are we prioritizing business over football? And in today's video, I want to have a discussion sharing my concerns. I'm not here to fearmonger. I'm not here to say that, our new owners and the whole team are fools who don't know what they're doing. But I want to express some concerns that I'm feeling right now. And that is, are we prioritizing the business over football? Because there's one clear fact. Before the window started, Pochettino stressed. He wanted to have a smaller squad. A 23-man squad, essentially, because we're playing less games this season. And come the end of this window, we currently have a 31-man squad. Yes, 5 of these players are goalkeepers, but outside of that, that's 26 outfield players. They consist of having 6 centre-backs once everyone is fully fit, 3 left-backs, and the balance is a bit off. And is this conducive for Pochettino now to focus solely on his job, which is getting silverware and success? I don't think so. And I don't see any of our rivals that we have to compete against if you want to win any top honours or secure any Champions League football having these types of similar issues. So from having an incredibly bloated squad which kind of ruined our season last season, it's kind of semi-bloated at this point in time, and it's still not perfect for a manager, of course, to really just focus on the football, his ideas, and the players that he wants to work with. And this is where I want to conversate about my concerns. I'll give you guys an example of this. I'm kind of re-examining the signing of Axel Disasi a bit differently. Yes, I'm sure the data analytic reports show that this guy is excellent. I'm sure maybe his passing between the lines or whatever metrics that was of focus might be 2%, 5% better than other players we currently have. But was he necessarily a level above what we already have in a Jalaba, for example? Adding another centre-back whilst knowing that we couldn't then get rid of a Jalaba near the end of the window. I feel like you're kind of playing with fire. You're taking risks that you don't have to take. And it comes down to the business. I'm being cynical, hold my hands up, but it's okay, you're Lawrence Stewart. You've just come from Monaco. Of course, your players in Badia, Shield, Disasi. Now, these are great signings that you fully endorse and fully backed. And it's just now you're here at our football club. What's a better endorsement of your skill set and your quality than bringing in players that were successes for you at your former club? But is that necessarily good for the team, knowing that we now are bloated in defence, knowing the fact that maybe this is a signing that could have been prioritized maybe in January once you get rid of certain players that you want to get rid of to bring the squad size down for Pochettino to fully focus on winning? That's how I see things, and I just feel like there's this rush nature behind how we've moved, incredibly aggressive restructuring in the squads. And it brings up an example because for me, I always say this all the time, you're competing against your Madrids, your Man Cities, your Liverpools, big clubs for goals that you want to achieve, Champions League, silverware. So you have to be better than them. And when I look at Real Madrid, for me, they are a prime example of a club that prioritizes and puts football first. Now, they've introduced Valverde into their squads over the recent seasons. They've invested big in Camavinga, Tchouaméni, Jude Bellingham recently. But when they invested in the future, was that at the expense of the experience they already had? Did they kick Luka Modric and Toni Kroos and others out the door straight away to bring in the new? Absolutely not, because they understood that you keep this experience here because no matter how talented, no matter how big their potential is, they are still young players. That is just the essence of how a team and the sport works. This isn't Football Manager or career mode where all of us have played these games and we've all restructured teams and we've all bought the best 4-star, 5-star potential players. And of course you can get by on that because it's a video game. It's not real life. You're dealing with real personalities and, real issues behind the scenes. Even use Barcelona as an example. They meant to target your Gundogans. They meant to target your Lewandowskis. Experience to have alongside their super talents in Pedri, Javi, Bade, Yamal. I think that's the balance that a squad needs to have, that combination of the old, mature, been there, done that, plus the new gen that don't know what those expectations are, and it's the last gen that provide the expectations the new gen need to have, of course, to set and keep those standards high. And that's the thing. What are the standards that have been left before? The only standards we've set for ourselves over the past 12 months is loss after loss after loss. This brand new squad has to now create and set their own standards. Nothing or no one is left to pass those standards down. Madrid's kept their senior figureheads because they know that one day their successors will be ready to carry that torch left by the excellence that was left behind. And this is how you properly rephase the squads for the future, because Madrid still have the quality they need now to still compete for honours whilst knowing the next 2 to 3 years their successors will be ready to take over, and you're keeping things seamless, you're keeping things natural. And I'm starting to feel like, are we doing the same things at this football club? I don't think we are. It's very easy to think that buying will instantly build a team. No, a team takes a lot of work in terms of getting used to tactical ideas, playing together, getting used to each other's rhythm, how your teammate likes to play, how they like to receive. That doesn't happen overnight. It kind of makes me think there's probably a reason why we've never seen another example of such an aggressive restructuring ever, because maybe it just doesn't necessarily work. I'm starting to feel like this aggressive restructuring now it's not balanced anymore. You know, it's gone too far down one spectrum. I'm using the example of an Andre Santos. You know, we even tried to bring this guy into our squads last season, but of course he could not get the work permit points that he needed to qualify to come here. And then we all had these big expectations and hope based on the reports, the articles stressing how highly valued, how promising, how much they believe in Andre Santos. And then fast forward a few months till now, he's now shipped off to Nottingham Forest. Forest have now signed 2 permanent midfield players before the window ended. And in that meantime, we've added Leslie Ugo-Chukwu and we've added Romeo Lavia. 2 more 19-year-olds on top of other promising talents that we've signed already. And I think to myself, what is the future here? Are we just hedging our bets, hoping that at least one of these guys breaks through? Who cares about the money we spend? Because if one of them breaks through and becomes worthwhile, it justifies this business strategy. It justifies this aggressive nature in which we're rebuilding. And again, a part of me doesn't even morally kind of agree with playing and kind of gambling with young players' futures. I feel like it kind of distorts the market a little bit. And I think about the ramifications in the future, like 10 years from now, 15 years from now, where I wouldn't be surprised if more clubs start to adopt this type of approach to strategizing their teams. This is a window where we try to do everything all at once. And is that the most conducive way to really helping the team aspire to, winning the objectives for this season? I'm not too sure. We've tried to get rid of an incredible amount of players. It took us so long, in fact, that all our business literally came in the August window. And in that time, not only are we adding players to the first team, we're also then looking to sign players for this multi-club network model. And it's just like with other clubs like a Man City, for example, they focus on building their first team up to the competitive point where they are ready and they are satisfied that they're good enough now to challenge consistently. And then it was like, cool, what is phase 2? Phase 2 now is about building our networks. It's about building our scouting range. Phase 3 is about improving our academy. There's incremental steps that you need to take, of course, to make sure that you're still prioritizing the success of the team whilst also developing things outside around them. But to kind of do all of that all at once within 12-ish months, are we starting to pay the price? Are we starting to see some consequences of this approach? And this is where I end my point again by going back to the business. Again, I'm holding my hands up. Maybe I'm being cynical, but a part of me can't help but feel like when you've added 2 sporting directors who both want to cement themselves at the football club even more. They want to prove their worth, their credentials on their CVs. Sometimes are they putting maybe careers first over the sake of the football club? We signed so many players. We got an incredible amount of conflicting news surrounding, okay, is this player like Leslie Ugo-Chukwu, is he now set to leave on loan to Strasbourg? Oh no, in fact, actually Pochettino likes him, wants to work with him. Oh, I guess that means we have to now rephase our plans for an Andre Santos. You look at your Washingtons, where we signed him because he was supposed to go with Gabriel to Strasbourg. There was probably no time for that whatsoever. I mean, for God's sake, Malang Sarr is still at this football club and he's earning like over 100,000 a week, yeah? Like, this is what I mean by doing so much all at once. For example, look at how deadline day ended. Around the final few days of the window, I think anyone could have got sold as long as the price was right. And it's like, is there a sporting strategy behind that? Or is this just pure opportunism? Maatsen had an offer accepted. Would Pochettino have been happy with that, considering that reports have said he is happier having Maatsen in his squad compared to a Cucurella? We would have been open to selling a Conor Gallagher, someone that's been impressing under Pochettino, and another player that Pochettino has given the okay sign to. You saw how we really undersold selling Hudson-Odoi. Trevor Chalobah remains here too after we outpriced him for making a move to Bayern Munich. Were we accepting these sales because we feel like they're not good enough, or is it purely based on the fact that these are the best opportunistic options that allow us to cut the squad size down? It doesn't always communicate there's a grand idea and plan. A lot of times I was getting the impression that there wasn't always this grand plan that was being worked towards. It was merely about deciding what the best play was in the moment, depending on the cards we had in our hands. How are you going to find success when you're forcing things from all directions? You're not giving time for things to breathe. You're not like slowly phasing things over time. And then, bro, I can get even more cynical. I'm even starting to think, we all know that they're taking out their dividends from this football club in 10 years. They're probably thinking, as a consortium bought us, venture capitalists get investors on board, of course, when they bought us for 4.25 billion. It's only natural, I guess, that they want to aggressively make everything happen all at once, build the stadium, do everything in the hopes that, we become this super club that's the best in the world. And then these guys are making a killing afterwards based on, aggressively restructuring everything so soon, so quickly. I think that's going to be a grand ambition. We'll see if that happens. I'm going to keep my hopes up because I want us to win, for God's sake. We have not won for such a long time. And it's getting to the point now where I'm even re-examining how I looked at us winning before, where we were at a point where we could even criticize wins, We could criticize the nature of how we won. And I just think that shows the difference between where we are, because we were also winning with, on paper, as people would argue, more inferior players compared to all the players we bought right now. And you start to see that there is no upside in quality right now, because you can't really buy your way to success. It's something that you have to build. You have to be gradual with things. Change can't be instant. It has to come incrementally. And I think this particularly works in sport outside of using this as like a wider example. But in sport, it has to be gradual. If people aren't satisfied, if the manager's feeling the pressure, if he's getting overworked, if his methods now have to change a bit because there isn't a focus behind what he can do based on working with so many players, then I don't necessarily see how that really supports the fact that we are set and guaranteed to have success this season. I learned my lesson last season. I've been humbled. I'm keeping things on the ground right now. I'm keeping things level-headed. I'm not getting too gassed or excited anymore. I feel like I've been learning lessons, and this is my only concern. My only concern now. Is this all just a bit too fast, too soon? And can you necessarily expect to find success by moving like this? So my friends, as I said, it's a conversation I'm looking to have. Unfortunately, the editor couldn't work on this video just based on timing. These things happen, but I'm really curious to see what everyone has to say. As I stress again, it's not about me being right. It's not about me painting people out to be villains. It's about expressing concerns. And I'm just kind of curious to see how you guys are feeling about things too. So my friends, hit that like button, share your thoughts and opinions. And of course, make sure you guys watch my video discussing what keeps going wrong at our football club. An amazing response. Thank you to everyone that showed so much love. And also thank you to someone that sent me a super thanks, like 60 euros. I'm not going to lie, it was crazy. It was the last thing I was expecting. So yeah, you guys, you'll find links below to that. And on that note, I'm Nini FC. This is BlueLionsTV. I'll see you guys later with some more videos. Cool.